Karen claims to be the owner's wife in my parents' restaurant and ends up embarrassing herself. I am 18 years old. We offer snacks, cakes, candies, and several fast items in the small restaurant my parents run. Let us just refer to it as Joe's. It was named after my grandparents. Yes, I do pay. Normally, I hang out there with friends to have something whenever I have free time, and this helps them to pay as well. Working at Joe's pays me, especially on the weekends as it gets really busy. I pick orders and assist others with service. We do indeed have staff members. Along with paying me for the hours I work, my dad lets me keep the tip money clients leave after dining. Few of the frequent patrons are aware that my parents, the proprietors, also work there. I am the son of the owner. People commonly confuse them, nevertheless, for employees. One weekend, a woman, probably in her 30s or 40s, entered the restaurant with her bratty child, who appeared to be roughly 13 years old. Given it was the weekend, the place was somewhat packed. She was advised to take a seat on one of the waiting seats. About 20 minutes later, she sat down at a ready table. I went to get her order. I can't precisely recall what she ordered, perhaps a sandwich or something. I handed the order to the kitchen and stood next to the register monitoring whether anyone needed anything. Her bratty child was running around the restaurant, yelling, running over people, treading on their feet, even touching their food. Naturally, the mother seemed unconcerned and preoccupied on her phone. This infuriated me much, hence I grabbed the child by his hand and angrily instructed him not to run in such a strong manner that he started crying and ran back to his mother. Fuming, the mother stripped across to me. The discussion proceeded as follows. "How dare you touch my child?" the entitled mother says. "Me? He was flitting about upsetting other individuals. Surely you noticed he was handling their food." "Well, he's a child," says the entitled mother. "He is free to do as he likes." "Me? Well, yeah, but under my supervision." "Do you even know who I am?" the entitled mother asked. Thinking, asterisk. Here we go again. Knowing what was about to happen, I chose to participate, asterisk. "Me? No ma'am, I'm not." Entitled mother. "Well, then you ought to know. I am the owner's wife. You're getting fired, so you made a big mistake and I will make sure your face won't be seen here again." I started to find amusement at this stage. I assumed she would say she was a friend or sister of the owner, but she opted for asterisk wife asterisk, hence now I could have some fun. "Me? Ma'am, I doubt you even know his." She served me. "His name is insert my dad's name here," says entitled mother. She knew my dad's name, which startled me since only a small number of people knew that fact. "Me? Ma'am, please don't get me fired. I'm so sorry I was nasty to your son. I just have this job." Entitled mother. "You should have considered that before you touched my son." "Me? But ma'am, he was frustrating." She once more cut me off. Title mother. "Shut up." She marched across to the cashier and insisted on talking to the manager. Coming out, my dad asked her what was happening. Entitled mother. "Your staff member has been buzzing my son. I want him to be let go right now." I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but I can't just fire him without reason," my dad answered after staring at me then back at her. "Do you even know who you're talking to?" Entitled mother asks. "The owner of Joe's is married to me, hence I find this staff unacceptable." My dad smiled the most of all. Entitled mother. "Why are you laughing?" "I am sincere. Dad, I apologize for any trouble once more. Are you looking for a refund?" The entitled mother entered complete fury mode and exclaimed, "You know what? I'm grumbling about you and your company on my phone to my husband. We'll have you sacked right now." We posted it on a board outside for home delivery orders, hence she picked my dad's phone number. She gave that number a call. My dad's phone rang. Shock rocked Karen, the entitled mother. Taking up the phone he said, "Hello, this is Joe's owner, how could I assist you?" As if all the blood drained from Karen, her face turned from red to absolutely white. "Yes, I am the owner and manager of Joe's and you are not at all my wife," he said. "And my son is the employee you wish sacked." She stared at me, and my laughter started to flow uncontrolled. Her order came ready just then, but by then she was already ashamed enough. Her child was wailing all through the backdrop. We still giggle about her dragging him out by the arm, not following the instructions, and without even taking the order. Man, I find it hard to understand how long OP let this continue before saying anything. He actually had not really needed to say anything at all. She called the number outside and spoke with the owner personally, hence the only reason the entitled mother discovered he was the son of the owner and she was not the wife. She chose the wife role straight ahead instead of other possibilities like OP considered, such as becoming the sister or friend of the owner. She simply asserted, rather boldly, to be the wife of the proprietor. I wouldn't have been able to resist shouting something like, "Mom, you finally came home," remarked one of the funniest remarks, then tried hugging her while faking tears of joy. Following up, someone remarked, "That would be awesome and hilarious. And I have a younger brother as well. Were you expecting Dad when you left? Is he a half-brother?" Better still, the larger the scene is. People begin by pulling out their phones and filming the entire event. Tell me what you would score this entitlement level 1 out of 10 in down below in the comments. Ex-husband begs to come back after miserable life. I laughed and called it karma. Am I the asshole? My ex-husband divorced me 3 years ago. When we got married, we agreed that we weren't going to have kids. I never wanted them. He said he didn't really want them. So yeah. 4 years into our marriage he changed his mind, and he chose to divorce me because I wouldn't go back on our agreement and give him children. I'm not really a big believer in divorce. I was ready to be married for the rest of our lives. We had a good marriage, but I guess he didn't love me that much if he picked kids that didn't even exist over me. Right after our divorce he almost instantly remarried. He got his new wife pregnant right away, and they have 2 kids together. In the 3 years since then I've finished my higher education, and have accepted a high-paying job in healthcare. Life has actually been pretty good for me, and I've gotten to the point where I think I'm ready to start looking to settle down. Yesterday morning my ex-husband showed up on my doorstep crying. I figured something pretty awful must have happened, so I let him in, and got him a drink. He started going on and crying about how awful his life is. He apparently hates his 2 kids. One of them is disabled and maybe autistic, and he has no money due to the kid being so expensive. His wife yells at him all the time. She got fat after having kids and doesn't want to lose weight. She never puts out. He can never go anywhere anymore. He said that he wants a divorce from his new wife and he regrets ever leaving me. He asked if I would take him back, and said he learned his lesson. I couldn't help but laugh at him. It was so pitiful. His audacity also kind of astounded me. I told him that with 2 kids to support and his lack of loyalty he is not a catch, and I definitely won't take him back. And maybe this was karma for divorcing me. He was pissed, called me an asshole, and said he thought I would be more supportive and would at least turn him down nicely. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for exposing my dad's girlfriend after she tried to kick me out and faked a pregnancy? I'm M20, and I was a former foster kid. I was never adopted before I aged out, but I was placed with Joe when I was 10, and we were long-term matched by the time I was 14. Joe's the only real family I've ever had, and I consider him my dad. Even though the whole adoption thing never happened. When I first moved in with Joe, he was married, but his wife passed away suddenly when I was 12. That was tough on both of us, but we managed to get through it together. Now, Joe's been dating his current girlfriend, Sarah, for about 2 years. She didn't come over much, and when she did it was pretty brief. But 3 weeks ago she moved into our house because she lost her job and couldn't afford rent anymore. I don't know if she was always like this or if moving in has brought out a different side of her, but Sarah's been acting really strange. Whenever Joe isn't around, she completely ignores me, like, won't even look at me when I speak, won't answer questions, nothing. At first I thought it might be some kind of anxiety thing. But now it started getting worse. For example, when Joe's at work and I'm in the lounge watching a movie, she'll come in and start blasting TikTok on her phone or playing music, totally disregarding the fact that I'm there. When I ask her to turn it down, she just flat out ignores me. And it's not just the ignoring that's the problem. She started saying some pretty nasty stuff about me too. She FaceTimed her friend while I was in the room and talked about how lazy I am and how I don't contribute anything to the household. Yesterday, I was sitting on the sofa watching the new Deadpool movie when she came and sat across from me, FaceTiming her friend again. She started talking about how she and Joe are trying for a baby and how excited they are because neither of them have had children before. Those exact words. It felt like a slap in the face. I know Joe wouldn't have said something like that because he considers me his son. So either she's making it up, or I don't even know what. I haven't told Joe about the things she's been saying to her friend because I don't want to mess up his first real relationship since his wife died. But this situation is seriously eating me up inside. I mentioned the situation to a few people and a couple of them suggested that I secretly record her behavior when Joe isn't around so that he can see what's really going on. It seemed like a good idea at first, but when I talked to one of my close friends about it, he said that secretly recording her could just make things worse. He thinks it might make Joe feel like I'm going behind his back and could cause even more tension, especially if Sarah twists it to make me look bad. So, WABTA if I secretly recorded her to show Joe what she's really like, or should I just avoid it altogether? I don't want to seem like I'm trying to sabotage his relationship, but I'm not sure what else to do. Relevant comments. November 8485. You need to talk to Joe. You can record it in case he doesn't believe you, but you need to talk to him ASAP. And you might also have to work on your exit plan in case it backfires, which it can. People in love do strange things at times. NTA. OOP. I don't think Joe would ever kick me out, but you're right, I should have a backup plan just in case. Call 20. So many parents kick out kids when a new relationship forms and the kid doesn't get on with the new spouse. Don't be blindsided by something that is a huge possibility. You're an adult. Joe's GF could have the very easy argument that you're an adult and need to move out so they can work on furthering their relationship. Having a child together would absolutely be a reason he would side with her. NTA, out of curiosity, you have only explained that you lounge and watch TV. Are you contributing to the household in any way? If Joe's GF is contributing to the household, I can see why she would have an issue floating with you. OOP, well, I'm still at college. Americans would call this high school. But it's summer. As a foster care leaver, Joe is paid £300 per week by the government to support me until I finish. This will carry on until I finish university or until I'm 25, whichever is first. I also get universal credit, which I use for most of my expenses. OOP goes on to state, high school usually ends at 18 here also, but I've had to redo some learning that I missed. Huge_Lime 826, get your ass off the couch and contribute to the home. Seems to me you are too stupid to realize that he will pick his girlfriend bedmate over a 20-year-old taking up space and pissing off his hot girlfriend. You don't realize it, but unless you start contributing, your days are numbered. So you're off school for the summer. Why don't you have a job to go to every day instead of sitting your ass on the couch? OP, who hurt you? Huge_Lime 826, nobody hurt me. But I did have enough common sense to get my ass off the couch and not play video games as a 20-year-old and then bitch about somebody who actually is contributing to the household. If he doesn't believe the girlfriend is more important to Joe than he has blinders on. Just wait until she has a baby. He needs to wake up and get his ass off the couch and contribute to the family. 20 years old is not a time to be sitting on the couch playing video games to get a job. Automatic_mirror_ 825. It's time to fly out of the nest, find a job, and/or college. Build your own life. You are an adult, young, male, with lots of opportunities. Sorry_I_guess responding to automatic_mirror_ 825. This young man didn't have a stable home until he was 10. He went through a traumatic childhood, and his life's trajectory is not the same as most people's, so developmentally it may be important for him to take a little longer to feel safe and confident. Hell, he's still finishing his secondary education due to those complications. And you have literally no idea what opportunities he does or doesn't have. As long as his father is happy to have him there, who are you to tell him he needs to leave home? What a shitty, presumptuous thing to say. Silent Prune 8103. Going to school isn't contributing to the household. Doing chores, taking out the trash, preparing dinner, doing laundry, sweeping the floors, vacuuming, doing repairs around the house. Contributing to the sustainment of your family's home and health of it so it doesn't burden others. That's my responsibility. If she finds herself or Joe doing all of this, then I would be annoyed as well. You're an adult. As an adult, you should be contributing without being told the responsibilities of maintaining the home. I would say getting a job as well at your age. Many folks go to school and have a part-time job, but if that's not the case, you can help around the house. I guarantee if you're doing those things, Joe and possibly her will have a different positive opinion of you. Update. I decided to talk to Joe directly instead of secretly recording Sarah. I thought it would be more mature, sensible, and non-confrontational to handle things face to face. My mindset was that if he didn't take it seriously, then I'd consider recording to show him what was really going on. When Joe got home from work, I asked him to talk privately in my room. He seemed a bit confused at first, but I made it clear that I wasn't trying to sabotage his relationship. I just needed to tell him that some things Sarah was doing were making me uncomfortable. I reminded him about how she ignores me and mentioned how she plays videos while I'm watching TV, but when I told him she said that he didn't have any children and that they were trying for a baby, he looked really upset. It felt a bit awkward, but Joe called Sarah into the room to talk with us. He asked her if what I said was true and she immediately denied it. You could see from her body language that she was lying. I'm not sure if she just never expected me to say anything about how she's been treating me or what. Joe firmly told her that this is my house, not hers, and that while she's a guest here, she can't be disrespecting me. Things got a little heated, and in the end, she apologized to me, though it was through gritted teeth. I accepted the apology, even though I'm not sure it was genuine. After that, Joe asked if I was still comfortable with her staying with us. I said I was because I didn't want to break them up. I just wanted to tell him what was happening. However, she decided to stay at her friend's house for the night, which made the situation feel even more tense. I can tell Joe is really upset now, and I feel super guilty for making him feel this way. He insists it's not my fault and we ended up having kebabs for tea, but even so I can't shake the feeling that I've caused a huge fight between them. Joe went to bed early, and now I'm stuck feeling bad about the whole situation. I just hope that whatever happens next, things will settle down. Thank you everyone. Update 2. So, about a month ago, things seemed to be getting better, at least on the surface. Joe and Sarah got back together, and I gave them my blessing because Joe really wanted it to work. Sarah even moved back into the house, and she was actually being decent to me, which was a change. But honestly, I always felt like she was just putting on an act. I had this nagging feeling that she still didn't like me and was only being nice because her other option was to be homeless. It all went downhill really fast though. Less than a week after moving back in, Sarah announced that she was pregnant with Joe's baby. And that's when the real chaos started. She dropped this ultimatum on Joe. Either I move out, or she'd break up with him and make it impossible for him to be involved with the baby. Joe was torn because he didn't want her or the baby to be homeless, but he also made it clear that I wasn't going anywhere. I'm his family, and he wouldn't kick me out for anything. So Joe told Sarah that they'd have to break up for good after she gave him the ultimatum. He even kicked her out again. That's when things got even crazier. Sarah started messaging Joe, saying she was going to get an abortion because she couldn't afford to be pregnant. Joe, being the good guy he is, offered to send her money and even pay for her rent so she wouldn't be homeless, but she kept playing games. Anyway, I was borrowing Joe's iPad one day, and I saw that Sarah's iMessage was still linked to it. I accidentally stumbled across her messages to a friend where she admitted she wasn't pregnant at all. She was just lying to get money from Joe and had this whole plan to drag him along for months before pretending to get an abortion. She even said she was going to make Joe's life miserable because he kicked her out. I felt sick to my stomach reading those messages. I took a screen recording of the entire chat, including the phone numbers and everything so she couldn't deny it or say that it was faked. When I showed Joe, he was completely heartbroken. He's stopped sending her money, but now he's unsure about what to do next. He's even thinking of reporting her to the police for fraud. But part of him just wants to cut her out of his life completely and move on. I've never seen Joe this hurt, and I feel so guilty because I know all of this is stressing him out. I'm still in shock over how horrible Sarah turned out to be. Even with everything that's happened before, I never thought she'd do something this low. Now, we're just trying to figure out how to move forward from all of this. Karen yells at me in Walmart over apple juice and demands both bottles. My mother had to visit Walmart a few days ago to pick up a prescription and some food. She detests Walmart, hence we usually attempt to move quickly. My brother and I went to hunt the few things we needed as she stood in line for the prescription. We arrived at the grocery store and got to work shopping. There were just 2 gallons of apple juice left when we at last arrived at the beverages section. As I went to pick them, a woman walked up and watched me grab them. Turning back, I asked her whether she was likewise searching for apple juice. She agreed, thus I gave her one. We would take the other. Things started to get fast. She wanted them, hence she instructed me to give her both of them. I reminded her once more that I would give her one. We would retain the other. She started asking that I give her both as she wasn't satisfied with this. I told her no flat out. Since my brother only wanted apple juice and is not good with conflict, he was not saying anything. "Ma'am, do you want this one or not?" I asked. "Just give me both," Karen said. "How difficult should one find that to grasp? I want both of them." Looking nervous, my brother interrupted her as she was beginning to create a scene and said, "Look, we're just trying to be nice." Karen jerked back. "I don't care. Just show me these. You are throwing away my time." I eventually grew bored with the debate and out of spite filled our cart with both of the apple juices. I spun around and pointed for my brother to follow. She started screaming, but we proceeded toward the front. Really, it was the dumbest thing ever. Arriving first, the OP and his brother might have readily snatched both apple juice bottles without saying anything. Rather, they volunteered to give the woman one, and she turned straight forward and started screaming at them. She ended up obtaining 100% of nothing while wanting exactly 100% of the apple juice. Though it sounds like they were able to just walk away without any more problems, I find it surprising that Karen did not end up running after OP and his brother to do something further. Tell me what you would score this one, 1 out of 10, down here for the entitlement degree. An entitled parent seeks Disney World's college refund policy. Understanding the rest of the story depends on knowing all this material. Having only been here slightly over 2 months, I work at a financial aid office for a small private university. Because I have to learn topics about the financial aid application process I never would have believed I would need to know, including how FAFSA forms are handled, my work is difficult. Students must complete the FAFSA, a crucial document to find out how much money they are qualified for to pay for college. Many times, this means students with scholarships, grants, or loans could receive a return check. The amount the student qualifies for and the amount the school deducts for tuition, classes, lodging, board, and other expenditures will determine how these checks turn out. Students occasionally will obtain thousands of dollars back off. Be sure not to discuss how you intend to utilize a refund outside of class criteria for anyone who intends to obtain one, since it is policy to refuse to distribute money if they are knowingly used for items outside of school necessities. Once more, this helps one to grasp the narrative. Now, on to the narrative. Though I work as a simple office assistant, my position as a financial aid assistant is one of knowledge of a financial aid counselor. Yesterday, a young woman and her father entered the office. "Where's the person that's holding my kid's money hostage?" the man asked before I could welcome them. This man was plainly angry and bigger than me, so I got scared. Just from the intensity of his voice, I wanted to cry. "Sir, I can see if anyone's available to talk," I said, and he started yelling at me about how horrible the university was and how dare they keep his daughter's money like this. We are all women in our little office with my boss, the Director of Financial Aid, DFA, Assistant Director AD, and Student Assistant. Turning to the open doorway, I found the Assistant Director looking unconcerned. "I can discuss her money with you and your daughter," she replied. Side note, since we have no control on how it's distributed, first call the billing department, not the financial aid office, if you're seeking a refund. I heard everything discussed since the entitled dad and the girl entered the office left the door open. Had I been let to document events, for privacy concerns I wasn't, I would have noted this conversation. "So how can I help you?" the assistant director asked. "What is happening?" The entitled dad added, "The refund for my kid was meant to arrive by the end of the week, Wednesday here, and her account does not show it." "Sir, please calm down," the assistant director said. Ignoring her, the dad said, "No, we utilize her money for our trip, hence she needs it." The daughter piped in, "Dad, I'm not going on a trip." The dad said, "You are indeed. Remember, we are heading to Disney World." Knowing this, the assistant director remarked, "So you're using your refund to pay for a trip outside of school?" Saying, "No, I'm not," the daughter objected. But the dad cut her off, declaring, "Yes, she is. We now need it since she pledged to pay the deposit with that money." "Sir, I must tell you that I cannot let this money be released, as you have just told me your daughter will be using them for things outside of school. Please do not modify it." The dad said, "What? She can spend her money any way she wants and do anything with it." The assistant director clarified, "You only have this money for purchases connected to schools. Using it otherwise is regarded as fraud, a wrong use of money." OP explains here, "You should never notify the financial aid office of your vacation plans and act like a jerk. You can utilize your return money any way you like. Most financial aid recipients have no particular interest in how you use your refund generally." I was still at my desk, trying to seem as though I was not hearing this, but this man went crazy. I swear I picked up more foul words from him in that one instant than I have in 27 years. Though she wouldn't be getting her money, the daughter was also unhappy. I dropped my head as they left the building. Not too long afterward, I got up to visit my assistant director. "Hey, are you okay?" I begged. She nodded, however she obviously needed some alone time. I don't blame her, that guy was really scary and I doubt we will hear from him very soon either. Man, if they hadn't obviously declared they would be using the money for Disneyland, it sounds like they could have really been able to help them. The fact that they intended to pay for the trip for everyone else using the daughter's money seems also strange. I sensed that the choice was made for her. Still, it was quite a poor decision for the dad to freely admit to utilizing the funds for Disneyland. Why would you even say it even if it wasn't against policy? Whichever the money is for, what difference counts? In this instance, it allowed the assistant director a simple way out from underhandling the matter entirely. Though the assistant director explicitly addressed it as a possibility, they believed the dad might keep returning but could also be terrified of anything involving fraud. That's really significant. Either way, grade this one, 1 out of 10, down below and tell me what you would do if you were in this position. My dad stole my identity and opened 3 credit cards in my name. He told me that since I'm young, I can do without for a few years. I found that my dad used my information to open 3 credit cards over the last year. When I went to get a pre-approval for a mortgage, I was told by the lender they wouldn't be able to give me a home loan because of the defaulted credit cards. They also said I probably wouldn't be able to get a loan from any lender because of it and gave me a sheet of paper explaining what I'd need to do in order to fix it. When I tried disputing the cards, one of which is already in collections, the disputes got closed out as the debts were verified. I told my divorced parents about it and their answers were pretty wildly different. My dad said that these things happen, and that I should be more careful in the future with my social security number. Seeing as I've always been careful, that made me pretty mad. My mom said she thinks my dad might have something to do with it since opening credit cards in her name had a part to play in their divorce. She told me he ran up about $50,000 in credit card debt on secret credit cards. A few days ago, I ended up casually telling my dad I'm going to have to file a police report for the credit cards. He told me I probably shouldn't do that because $15,000 isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. When I told him it was keeping me from buying a house, he said I could just wait a few years until they fell off of my credit report. He said it would only take another 4.5 years. When I told him I obviously couldn't wait that long, so I had to file the police report, he straight up told me not to do it and to just be more careful in the future. Once I told him I already got the paperwork together from the credit agencies, he told me he had opened the cards to pay for living expenses over the last year. He said his work slowed down a little bit, but he'd do what he could to help pay it off. He said it would ruin his life if he went to jail. I'm leaning towards going to the police anyway. But I didn't right that minute. I have everything in front of me today to go make the report. I guess I just want to make sure turning it over to the police is the right thing to do here. Especially if I'm wanting to buy a house this year. Top comments. Comment 1, report him for fraud. OP, that's what I'm leaning towards. I'm realizing if I want to buy a house, I can't have those accounts on my credit. Comment 2, if he wasn't your dad, you'd have reported him already, right? Well, think about this. Why didn't he give you the same respect and not ruin your credit because he's your father? Update 1. I spent about half of the day reading everyone's comments and it pretty much solidified what I was going to do. The process itself was pretty easy. I went to the police department and the person at the front desk had me wait about 10 minutes before an officer came out. We talked for about 15 minutes and he made copies of all of the paperwork I gave him. He told me the case would be assigned to a detective on Tuesday and gave me a pamphlet about how to contact the credit agencies. I was given a report number and was told I could use that now to start disputing the accounts. A detective is going to follow up with me in the next couple of weeks. I asked what would end up happening to my dad and the officer said it looked pretty clear-cut to him, but the charging decision is 100% with the state attorney's office. He said if they decide to pursue charges, he'll likely get a warrant put out for his arrest. He also said typically if this is his first felony, he's probably going to get some sort of pretrial diversion with court supervision or probation. He probably won't go to jail for years, but if he gets picked up on a warrant he's going to spend at least a little bit of time behind bars. I've decided I'm okay with that because it's obvious to me he did this purposefully. He's never been arrested before, so hopefully this is a wake-up call for him. At the same time, he completely did this to himself. I'll update whenever I learn more. Top comments. Comment 1, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Sincerely hope everything works out well for you. OP, I think it will. From what I understand, it might take a month or two for the cards to come off of my credit, but once they do, my credit score should shoot up. Comment 2, well done OP. I was so mad on your behalf reading the first post, it would take everything in me not to use his words against him. Jail time? It's just a few years. You've ruined my life. No. You did it by trying to ruin mine. I hope the marks come off your credit report like it's made of Teflon. Good luck on your home ownership journey. Update 2. There's been some good, a little bad, and a little real bad progress the past few days. The good, I used my report number and disputed every account. When I checked my credit last, which everyone should be doing regularly, the one with the lowest balance was already off of my account. The other cards and the collection account are still showing, but I have hope they'll be falling off in the next few weeks. I also received a call from someone at the prosecutor's office who had a couple of extra questions for me and asked if I would be willing to testify if they charged him. I said yes, and they said they would be making a decision on their charges before the end of the month. The bad, obviously, someone talked to my dad about this because the last time he talked, he scolded me for going to the police and hasn't talked to me since. One of my brothers was also pretty mad at me about it and hasn't talked to me in over a week. The rest of my siblings and my mom understood where I was coming from. The real bad, one of my other brothers, not the one who was pissed, found 2 open credit cards on his credit which weren't his. He checked his credit score for the first time in a couple of years and he said it was down about 150 points from where it used to be. He's now in the process of dealing with that. He doesn't have any positive proof, yet, that it was our dad. But the fingers are pointing in that direction. This still blows my mind that a dad could do this to his own children. I'm moving forward though. I still hope to be able to purchase a house before the end of the year. Additional information from OP. Also, I think all of my other siblings, there are 6 of us, are checking their credit too. Probably for the best. New update. This is going to be my final update as it seems like this has gone viral and hit a few different big websites. I'm happy to say my credit has completely returned to normal. All of the disputed accounts are now gone. Obviously, I'm excited about this since it gives me a solid financial future. I also received a letter from the prosecutor's office 2 weeks ago and they said they are going forward with a charge of what is basically identity theft. I spoke with an assistant prosecutor and they explained they'd be putting out a warrant shortly, but that as a first-time offender, they'd probably offer a misdemeanor charge and a plea. My dad was arrested last Friday after a traffic stop. He got out of jail the next day and has a new court date in late August according to the Public Records website. He called me and told me I'm dead to him and to never contact him again. My brother who found credit cards opened in his name has made a police report as well, but apparently the addresses are different on the accounts. He was told it was unlikely it would be prosecuted, but he's working on getting them off of his credit. Additional information from OP. Just wanted to give everyone who commented in my other posts a shout out. You have all given me the courage to do this. I'm going to be deleting this throwaway because I really hope to put all of this behind me between the news articles and having no contact with my dad. Don't let things like this sneak up on you. It breaks my heart to do this to my dad, but he did this to himself. Am I the A for telling my fiancée that her wedding dress choice is too extravagant and suggesting cheaper alternatives? We are getting married in July of this year. The venue is booked and the wedding is pretty much sorted. Emma has been researching dresses and has a little scrapbook of lots of dresses she likes for ideas but is now looking to buy. All that's left to get is the bridesmaid dresses and her wedding dress. We jointly put aside $10,000 each for the wedding. Everything is paid and we have $6,000 left over, which I think could go towards the honeymoon on top of the honeymoon fund we already had. We aren't the extravagant type at all. Then comes the time for Emma to pick her dress. I know everything is more expensive when it has the term wedding attached to it. What I wasn't expecting was a $950 dress plus $120 veil. I'm using my dad's old tux he used for his wedding to my mom, just had it taken in a little. Emma can't use her mom's dress as her, and her mom both say the style hasn't aged well, which is fair. I had a quick Google around at dresses online and there were so many. And so many just like the one Emma wants for like $50 to $100. I'm not trying to get her to cheap out on her dress, but she will literally wear it once. One dress for over $1,000 is just insane. That would fund our honeymoon. I tried to show her some dresses I found on a recommended app called Wish and others on websites, but she was having none of it. She is very slender but apparently wants it specially fitted. It turned nasty unfortunately because I said I refused to drop such a large amount of money on a dress and she argued that she is using her own money for the dress. Which isn't strictly true as we ain't about to marry and our finances will be joined. Then her mom had to get involved. They offered to pay for the dress, but it's not a case of not being able to afford it. It's a dress. There are identical ones online at a fraction of the cost. I thought she would be ecstatic to learn there are identical dresses for a fraction of the cost, but she was really angry and upset. Is there something I am seriously missing? Because after we argued about the dress, Emma has been extremely cold towards me. Then yesterday she said if I want her to cheap out on her wedding dress on her wedding day, that she needs to really consider if we're a good match for marriage. I was blown away that she would say that over a dress. I told her she's like a toddler throwing a tantrum over a sparkly toy she can't have. That was a mistake as she left to stay with her parents, who called to tell me I am much more than an asshole. TLDR fiancé can get a similar dress for around $100 with shipping online but wants to blow over $1,000 at a local wedding dress boutique. Am I the asshole for saying to get a cheaper one online? Edit. Emma found this thread. It was a mistake to post here and I'm sorry I posted our problems on Reddit. Ayata the top replies from OP. Comment 1, but the gowns I found on Wish looked very professionally made, and very similar to the one she's picked. Comment 2, I mentioned the second-hand wedding dress store and she said no without even going to take a look. Comment 3, that's not fair. I would never tell her what to wear. She can wear what she wants. It is the absurd price that I'm against. Comment 4, see, I can definitely understand caring about the quality of a dress if it's a work dress or a regularly worn formal dress. I think what everyone's missing is that this will be worn for one day only. Relevant comments. Emma, ask yourself if your fiancé's behavior here is a one-off. There are some concerning things here. His insistence on controlling your purchase, made with your money, even if it's funded by your parents. Is he controlling in other ways? Has he ever been insistent on you spending your time and money only in ways he approves of? And does he usually lash out when you don't do what he wants? The way he's resorting to name-calling because you wouldn't capitulate to his demands, calling you a toddler throwing a tantrum, instead of communicating with you respectfully. This is made especially worse by the fact that his demands are unreasonable and stem from a fundamental ignorance about the subject, wedding gown cost, what knockoffs are and why they're a bad idea, etc. And that he's shutting down your attempts to educate him. Does he normally communicate with you openly and respectfully? Does he normally get angry and verbally attack you when you disagree with him? Are you normally able to have conversations with him on difficult topics that are calm, respectful and productive, even when you disagree? Maybe you're both cracking under wedding planning strain, and this is an out-of-character moment that you can work through, but maybe this is pointing to a larger pattern. Proceed with caution. Remember, you're about to enter into a pretty intense legal and social contract with this man, and that you're signing up for a lifetime of conflict resolution with this person in particular. The way you both approach disagreement and handle conflict now reflects how you'll be likely to continue to do so going forward. Now may be the time to double-check with yourself if this is the right move. Edit. After reading through the comments, I would also encourage you to look at his behavior here, on this Reddit post. His response to new information is not to take it on board and process it, but to double down, plug his fingers in his ears, close his eyes, and refuse to listen. The lengths he'll go to avoid admitting he was mistaken are a bit troubling. It may also be worth asking yourself if there's a reason someone who is so insistent on always being right may have for seeking out a partner who's a decade younger. I'm wishing you all the best, and I hope this works out for you. OP, I thought I'd have a look through the comments to see if anything explained why Emma has blocked me and her phone is ringing through to voicemail. I seriously can't believe people started a witch hunt over a dress. I watched some YouTube videos of Wish wedding dresses, and yes, wishes are trash. I got it, I was wrong about that site. But to end up blocked because you have all told her I'm abusive and manipulative is just vile. I called her parents' house and the line's off the hook, so if you see this, Emma, call me, please. I won't shout, I won't get mad, I just want to end this crap. Get whatever dress you want, I see that I was wrong. I'm sorry. Spelling bad had some whiskey. Can you blame me after this? Edit 2. Based on Josh's newest comment about you blocking him on Messenger, it sounds like you're taking some time and space to think things over. I think that's a really good move. There's a quiz from the Love is Respect project that may help clarify your thinking about whether this is a healthy, nurturing relationship. I hope everything turns out well for you, Emma, whatever you decide to do. There's a whole community of people here rooting for you to be happy. Edit 3. It looks like OP has been banned from AETA. He just sent me a furious, invective-filled PM blaming the sub for what's happening in his personal relationship and reiterating that abusive behavior is normal and fine, so I guess he's learned nothing. According to the PM, Emma's dad just called him and chewed him out, so it sounds like at least she has a strong familial support system. Transcript of the PM banned. I'm now banned from Am I the Asshole and good fucking riddance. Her dad just called to cuss me the fuck out. Can you believe I've been trying to not fucking cuss so I don't get banned so I can at least defend myself, then banned for no reason. I live in the real world where when people are angry they yell, they save money where they can and they don't fucking run away and block you. Fuck this, fuck it, all, and fuck Emma for believing strangers on the internet over her fiancé of 2 fucking years cupcakes_and_ vodka. Emma, if you see this, run for the fucking hills. Men who are almost 40 marry 27-year-olds often because they are manipulative and going to pull shit a woman his age won't put up with. He's too old for you. You are seeing signs of this behavior now. $950 for a wedding dress ain't shit. He is already trying to control and manipulate you and your finances, and you aren't even married yet. Don't go through with it. OP, you are a massive asshole and she shouldn't marry you. OP. Wow, thanks. Seriously, she has been keeping up with this thread because she told me not to take it down. She wanted to read the replies, and now she's blocked me on Messenger and my calls go to voicemail. So thanks a lot. Everyone couldn't have left it at YTA, legitimately out for blood, mob mentality if ever I saw it. The bride. I will change the name despite his inability to do the same. I don't really care if he sees this, but he isn't sub to relationships. I literally don't know where to start. My fiancé will call Greg. I don't know what came over him. It's completely insane. We are getting married this summer. The argument started over my wedding dress. I picked a very simple and traditional gown that was already discounted as it is an X-sample gown. My absolute idiot fiancé decided to post to a subreddit asking for opinions or more likely validation on whether was being unreasonable. My dress is under $1,000 but will come to around $1,500 with alterations. We have over $7,000 left over in our budget. That's another thing that seriously upset me, that he lied in his post multiple times. I make a much higher salary than him, so we agreed he would put $5,000 towards the wedding and I put in the rest, but why lie? Why ask opinions if you've skewed the details? I had absolutely no problem with this, as he makes just above the minimum wage. The thread got way too much attention. I had already gone to my parents because I was angry about him calling me immature and shouting about me being spoiled. I also happened to find the thread shortly after he made it, because not only did he use my real name, his throwaway was his real name followed by his alarm pin. He sent me a text saying that he wasn't the asshole in this situation, and I just knew he would post it on Reddit. It's not the first time he's posted on Reddit about stuff. But nothing of this magnitude. Anyway, I don't know what to do. There are people online now claiming to be me, and it's been shared on Twitter and Facebook, and I'm just absolutely mortified. He got totally hammered last night and called my parents. My dad had to hang up on him because he was screaming down the phone, and my mom was disgusted. I can't get my money back on the venue or anything. I recently started taking antidepressants because I've been feeling low, but now I just feel empty. This whole thing was about the cost of my dress, and he suggested I use the Wish app to get an identical gown. First he refused to listen to me, saying that Wish is garbage, but he also argued it to death in the comments. I read every single comment in that thread and it was like being punched in the gut. I can't get over the odd lies either. He gave out my real name and his butt lied about the age gap and budget. I am 23. He is 43. Admittedly, he looks much younger, and for the first few weeks dating I thought he was in his early 30s. We also have only been together a year. Not 2 years, I think he said, and I'm starting to think this was all too fast. I need help. I need advice. I know I'm quite possibly pot calling the kettle by posting to Reddit, but I post here a lot usually anyway, and all the fake accounts claiming to be me might throw him off anyway. I might be slow replying as I start work in an hour. Thanks all. Xtail Dr. Fiance posted to Reddit to get opinions on the price of my wedding dress but used my real name and it all blew up. People are creating fake accounts pretending to be me, and he has devolved to calling me names and getting drunk and calling my family. He also lied about a lot of details in the post. How do I handle this calmly? 3 months later, to ex-fiance made a post. A few months back I was going to be married, and long story short, things were called off. She wanted to end things, I didn't. And I feel like I've lost all of my trust in women. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I was dating someone called Isabel until last week. She's really amazing and kind, but the second she heard about my ex and the fiasco that surrounded it, she ghosted me. And it becomes a pattern. At some point, no matter how close we get, they hear about it from a friend, it comes up somehow and they bail. I just want to know how to behave, or what I can do to make things work. My last GF, Casey, when she broke up with me, she said that I hadn't changed from who I was when my fiance left me, but I have. I hardly drink at all now. My job is steady and I'm a good guy, but I think the issue is that I'm suffering from small town syndrome. Everyone knows everyone here, back ass words, little town it is. Please give me advice on putting this behind me. I am honestly desperate. My life was about to move towards a phase and now I'm stuck in limbo. I need a girl to fill that place so I can move forward with my life. My ex-girlfriend claims my current girlfriend manipulated her into ending our 4-year relationship. Am I the asshole? I, 28 years old, am really confused about the events of the last month. My ex-girlfriend Julie, 29 years old, thinks that my current girlfriend Mindy, 28 years old, is manipulative and sabotaged our 4-year relationship. I was in a loving relationship with Julie for the last 4 years. We met through some mutual friends. Julie and I were very compatible in terms of our love for outdoor activities and running. We have very similar lifestyles and supported each other well for the last 4 years. We have also been living together for the last 3 years. We even discussed getting married during the summer. Everything was great and I was planning to propose to her over the holidays. However, I started to see changes in behavior in Julie around September. She was acting distant and looked stressed. It was quite noticeable and I was worried. I trust her with all my heart and I could not imagine she would be cheating on me. However, she did spend more time by herself. Around the same time, Julie's friend Mindy messaged me privately and asked me if I could meet her secretly, as she wanted to tell me something about Julie. Mindy and Julie work together and I've known Mindy ever since I started dating Julie. I was surprised, but to be honest, I assumed the worst. I met her at a cafe after work. She asked me if things were going on between Julie and me. She told me that Julie told her that she was planning to leave me soon. This was a total shock to me. I asked her if there was anyone else that Julie was interested in and she told me no. Julie confided in her that she was not sure about marrying me. She told me she just had to tell me this as she did not want me to be blindsided. I was devastated. I started putting more effort into making our relationship more exciting and planning more dates, etc. Mindy was also helping me through this time, and telling me more about what Julie told her. Eventually, before Thanksgiving, Julie told me that she loved me, but she wanted to take a break for a month to live alone. She said that she just wanted to live alone for a month to make sure she wanted to marry me. I was completely heartbroken. I asked her if she wanted to pursue someone else. She told me that was not the case, and I better not do anything stupid either. She loves me with all her heart, but she just wants to stay away from me to make sure that she is marrying me for love, and not because she is used to being with me. I did not understand that at all. I told her that if she is not sure after 4 years, if she wants to marry me, then maybe we should just break up. We had a big fight and broke up after a few days. As our lease was ending, we decided to part ways in December. She got a new apartment and I kept our old apartment and just took her name off the lease. After the breakup, I was feeling very lonely, as I was not used to being in the apartment alone. I didn't want to keep on being sad and hence invited a bunch of friends for a New Year's party. I also invited Mindy. We had a good time, and my friends were doing their best to cheer me up. Mindy also mingled with my friends and it was good. Mindy decided to stay back to help me clean up and we hooked up that night. I felt guilty, but Mindy did cheer me up. Since then, we have hung out almost daily at my place. I am still sad about Julie, but I won't lie that being with Mindy does make me feel happy. She is sweet and caring. Last Sunday, we woke up and someone was banging on the door. I went to open it and it was Julie. She looked furious and started yelling at me. She kept on accusing me of cheating on her. I told her I most certainly did not cheat on her, and she was the one who broke up with me. Mindy was also at my apartment. Julie was just angry at both of us. She started calling Mindy a manipulative bitch and told me that Mindy was the one who suggested to her that she should take some time away from me to understand her true feelings. I calmed her down and asked her to explain herself. She told me that ever since our marriage talk, she told Mindy about it and Mindy kept on asking Julie if she was sure about marrying me. Mindy suggested she take some time to herself to understand her true feelings and that I will understand and give her space. When I said no, Mindy convinced her that I was so controlling that I could not even give her 1 month to herself and convinced her to break up with me. Mindy told me that she did not say any such things, and these were all Julie's ideas and she was just there during these conversations. She did tell Julie that she told me about some of the things so that I get a chance to make things right with her over the last few months. That made Julie more angry and she started accusing me of emotionally cheating on her. Julie told me that the last few weeks have made her realize that we were meant to be together, but she now cannot believe I could move on from a 4-year relationship in a week. On one hand, I want to believe Julie, but she broke up with me for no fault of my own. Mindy was there for me when I was down, but now I also doubt her. She suddenly started talking to me out of the blue as we were never really close before, and immediately became my support after the breakup although Julie was her close friend. Am I the to emotionally cheat on Julie? Should I have told her about Mindy's texts? Should I have not moved on from her so quickly, even though Julie broke up with me? I was just hurting and Mindy was right there to support me. I need advice from someone with a clear mind on what the fuck is going on. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Sounds like you and Julie need to talk privately and discuss what Mindy said to each of you. As others said, this sounds all too convenient. Mindy was in both of your ears telling you both what she wanted you to hear to orchestrate this whole thing. Please reach out to Julie and ask her to talk to you alone. Even if you both don't get back together, I'm sure you care for each other deeply and she would want you to be with someone who cares about you and won't manipulate you, and her. Her manipulation of you is more direct, but Julie is the victim as well. OP, you are right. If Julie is right, I just threw a 4-year relationship under the bus in 2 weeks. Comment 2. So what's your reason for sleeping with your ex's good friend weeks after the breakup? It's understandable you wanted to move on, but why her? OP, I was not planning on it. But she just stayed back after the party and things happened. Did I feel guilty after that? Yes. I felt discarded and unwanted after a 4-year relationship and was not thinking straight. Update 1, 28, posted last week regarding my girlfriend Julie, 29, accusing her friend and co-worker Mindy, 28, of sabotaging our relationship. Julie broke up with me in December after a 4-year relationship and Mindy reached out to me when I was feeling down. However, when Julie realized Mindy was talking to me, she confronted both of us last Sunday morning and told me that Mindy manipulated her to break up with me. The worst part was I was not thinking straight after the breakup and ended up hooking up with Mindy after a New Year's party. After the incident, I asked Mindy if I needed some time and did not meet her. Since then, I made the following post on Reddit and had 3,000 people call me an idiot. I am sorry for the long post, but I wanted to say that we were not idiots to not see what happened. You guys read an abridged version of events in 5 minutes, while we lived it for the last 7 months. I messaged Julie every day since then, to try and talk to her. She did not reply to my messages. I was not sure if she blocked me. Mindy was constantly trying to message me, asking if we could meet and talk about it. On Wednesday, one day after posting, I decided to message Mindy. I told her to tell me everything she said to Julie truthfully. I told her I would go and see if I found out that she was lying. Mindy wanted to meet me in person or talk to me on the phone, but I wanted everything in writing. She messaged me that Julie always said good things about me for all these years. When Julie told her about us talking about getting married in 2024, she was happy for both of us. However, Julie started telling her that she had cold feet and was not sure if she wanted to marry me because of issues she observed about her parents' marriage. One day Julie told her she wanted to take a break from me. She was not sure about her true feelings for me. That was the time Mindy told me about Julie's behavior, as she felt bad for me, as we were already telling our families about the engagement plans. After our fight, she said that Julie was extremely upset and told Mindy that she would never marry me. She said that the only reason Julie came back was when she heard that I was moving on, as she is jealous of us. She also said that I was a good guy, and hopefully, I see that what we have is something special. I just said okay and told her I needed time. I kept on messaging Julie once a day to at least talk to her once. It was heartbreaking to think that she may have blocked me and may never talk to me again. On Friday afternoon, Julie finally replied. She said she wanted to meet me and told me she would come to our apartment on Saturday afternoon. I cleaned the place up and was just feeling deep guilt from inside before facing her. When she came in, she looked like a shell of herself and completely broken. I sat on our sofa, but she chose to sit away from me. We asked how we both were, but it was clear that none of us were doing well. I started apologizing, but she stopped me. She asked me to let her finish and not to interrupt her. She had brought her little notebook and had written down things she wanted to say to me. She told me that she truly loved me. But after we discussed getting married, she started feeling scared of the next big step. She thought those feelings were normal and would go away. So she decided to not discuss her concerns with me. It kept on eating her from inside, and she made a mistake to talk to Mindy about them. She said that she wanted to say everything to me now, so I don't get secondhand information about why she was distant and broke up with me. She said that her parents had a very rocky marriage, though they were together until her mom passed away in 2021 during the pandemic. Her parents argued constantly, and she always thought her mom did not love her dad. However, her mom was extremely dependent on him for everything, and her dad knew it and hence didn't treat her well. She never wanted to be like her mom after the marriage. However, as we lived together, she started seeing some of those issues in our relationship. For example, when we met, Julie had a lot of credit card debt and was bad at managing her money. I helped her with that. Even though we have separate finances, I ended up managing all her finances, investments, etc. At her request, to the point that she did not know or understand where her money exactly was. She also said that we always enjoy making nice meals for dinner every day. However, whenever I work late, she completely loses any motivation to cook and ends up eating cheese and crackers like a toddler for dinner. She also complained that in the last 4 years of our relationship, I have never said no to her for buying anything. She feels that I coddle her, and she just got comfortable with all the luxuries and things I can provide for her. She talked about this with Mindy, and while Mindy initially just listened to her, she told her around September that one of her cousins also had the same issue. She decided to stay away from her fiancé for a month, and within a week, she realized how much she missed him and never had doubts again. When Julie asked for a break, all she wanted to do was to live with her best friend for a few weeks, to see if she was just too codependent on me. She knew I was planning to propose during our Christmas trip to my parents' house, and when I told her that she could not take a break, she just freaked out and broke up with me, as she did not want to be engaged without knowing for sure that we won't end up like her parents. After this, she asked me when I started meeting Mindy, and how many times we met. I opened my chat messages with Mindy and handed her the phone. I told her I met Mindy only once in September, where she told me that Julie wanted to break up with me because she was not happy with our relationship. I already had noticed Julie's distant behavior, and when I asked her, the only answer I got was, "I am fine, we are fine." Due to my insecurities, I tried to hold on to Julie and started coddling her more, planning more expensive dates, and trying to spend more time at home. When Julie asked me for a break and to stay away from me for a few weeks, I thought that was the final step before the breakup and broke down and fought with her, which led to our breakup and her moving out. At this point, Julie's voice started cracking up. She asked me when Mindy contacted you after the breakup. I pointed her to the messages. Mindy initially just started sending me memes to cheer me up, and I just used to respond with thanks, or a thumbs up. However, the messages started getting more frequent and she offered to talk to me in case I needed help. She asked me what I was doing for Christmas and New Year's, and when I told her I was inviting a few friends, she told me that she does not have any plans for New Year's, and I invited her. Julie stopped me there. She told me she did not need to hear the details after that. She told me that when she moved out of our house after our fight, she thought she was just not ready to get married to me. She stayed with her friend for 2 weeks and then got her new apartment in January. She told me that she was miserable and missed me badly. It became more acute when she moved into the apartment alone and could not stay there for even one night. Her best friend is currently staying with her in the new apartment. She realized she could not live without me within a week of living there. When she asked one of our mutual friends, on Saturday, about how I was doing, she told her about the party and told her Mindy was there. It did not make sense to her why Mindy would be at the party. She concluded that Mindy and I were having an affair during our relationship and that was the reason Mindy must have tried to break us apart, by constantly telling her that she should not get married if she had doubts. When she saw Mindy in our apartment on Sunday, she completely broke down. However, when she learned that Mindy was also talking to me and telling me the opposite things, she realized how naive she was to throw everything away without properly talking to me first. As hurt as she is seeing me with Mindy, she also does not want to lose me. She kept on calling herself an idiot and apologizing for not telling her concerns to me sooner. I sat next to her and tried to hug her, but she moved away. She asked me if I was willing to still be together, and I told her I would give anything to get her back. She told me she was also willing to forget what happened, but she had a few conditions. Her first condition was that I cut contact with Mindy. I block her everywhere and never contact her again. If I see her standing in front of me, I act as if she is invisible. I was okay with that. Secondly, she has already signed up for individual therapy and is on the wait list. She wants us to do couples therapy so that we can talk about all the concerns we have and work through them. We also decided to hold off our engagement or marriage until we both can get into couples therapy. I was also okay with that too. Finally, she wanted me to forget the last month as a bad nightmare and never talk about it again. And if I ever make a "we were on a break" joke, she will punch me in the face. This was the first time we both smiled. I asked her what she was going to do about Mindy as they worked together. She said the biggest punishment for Mindy is to know that she did not succeed in breaking us up. She wants Mindy to see how happy she is with me. She wants Mindy to be there when she flaunts her engagement ring in the office and gets jealous when we get married. We hugged and I felt so relieved that I had a chance to make things right for her. I asked her to stay and she agreed. The rest of the evening was nice. We ordered DoorDash and watched reruns of Top Chef while cuddling on our couch. In the morning, we discussed moving back together. I want her to move back to our old apartment, but she wants a fresh start and asked me if I'm willing to move into her new apartment. Her new apartment is tiny compared to our current apartment and also not in the best neighborhood, but we will talk about it more and decide. I also will have to deal with the issue of having two 12-month leases, and how to get out of one of them. Currently, Julie went to her apartment after lunch to get some of her stuff for the week and I am writing this post. I am just so lucky that I did not lose Julie despite my terrible actions during the last month. I just hope that I will be able to work things out and get married soon, and this whole incident is a small bump in our perfect relationship. I also don't know how to address the issue where she feels coddled by my behavior and feels like I'm making her codependent on me. It's just my personality and I need to work on that during couples therapy. However, any tips from you guys are welcome on how to make her feel less codependent. P.S. Thanks to everyone who checked on my health during the last few days via direct messages, and sent me numbers for helplines. Don't worry, I am a marathon runner, and don't give up that easily. Relevant comments. Comment 1. So what happened to Mindy? OP, no idea. As far as I'm concerned, she does not exist. Comment 2. So it was Mindy who suggested to Julie to take the break? OP, yes. Mindy told Julie that she should take a break, and at the same time told me Julie wanted to break up with me because she was unhappy with me. I thought a break meant she wanted to move away and I would never see her again if I said yes. Comment 3. I don't know how you can make someone who can't even stay alone in their apartment less codependent. She needs her own therapist to make that happen, or she will again blame you for making her that way. OP, yes, she is looking for one right now. I have been in therapy and it takes time to find the right therapist that helps you. At least now we have discussed the issue, so it will be easier for us to see the signs and work on them together. New update. I wrote a few posts 6 months ago regarding breaking up with my then fiancée Julie because she asked me for a break and then hooking up with her friend Mindy. It turned out that Mindy was the one who encouraged Julie to ask me for a break and also befriended me and told me about Julie's intentions in advance. They were the worst few weeks of my life, but Julie and I reconciled and got back together. A lot of you have been asking me for an update, and I feel this is a good time to give a final update. After the incident, Julie told me that she wants to get back together and forget about the whole thing, but I could see that she was still hurt by my behavior. I tried to not love bomb her and give her space as that was the reason why we broke up in the first place. Julie had a mental breakdown and had a panic attack during the week after she saw Mindy with me in our apartment. She got an online therapist who she still sees once a week. We also looked for couples counseling and were able to see one almost a month after the incident. We decided to put our plans for marriage on hold until then. I could feel that Julie was making a lot of effort to act normally, but something was not right. I was optimistic about us, but it was hard to see her suffer because of my actions. During our first couples counseling session, we both opened up about our relationship and talked about the incident. Julie apologized to me for not communicating what was in her mind and how bad she felt for putting me through all the drama. She told me that she did not know how to process her thoughts and did not want to unload all her negative feelings on me and panicked in the moment. I also apologized to her about everything, and at one point we were in competition on who gets to take a bigger blame for what happened. There were a lot of tears, and I found the experience very healing. The counselor told us that she could see how much we love each other and should take baby steps towards talking to each other about what is in our mind. She gave us some exercises to do after going home and discussing certain things. By the time we left her office, I was so sure that I wanted to spend my life with Julie. I told her that, and she also said that she cannot imagine a life without me. We decided to go ahead with our wedding plans. Mindy tried to contact me several times. She messaged me, but Julie blocked her on my phone and all socials. She also contacted Julie and sent some nasty messages to her. The worst was 15 days after the incident, when Mindy started posting pictures of me and her on Instagram every day. Some of those photos were intimate, non-nude, and it caused a lot of pain to Julie. Julie reported her to HR and got a transfer and promotion to a different department after a month. The last I heard from Mindy was when she sent me a long email on my work email, but I deleted it without reading. The photos Mindy posted did cause a lot of drama, and we had to explain to our parents and friends about what happened during that time. As you all may have guessed, I was unanimously nominated for the Idiot of the Year award, but I am sure my sister would give me a good run for it before the year ends. The whole issue lasted for a month, and then we never heard from Mindy again and just moved on with our lives. Julie has been talking to her therapist about her codependency issues and concerns. I think it's childhood trauma, and the therapist feels that it might have amplified after her mother's sudden death. I have been trying to help Julie slowly take interest in our finances, recommend Ramit Sethi podcast, but she is allergic to money talks and always changes the subject. I was able to break the lease that Julie signed by paying some penalty, and we stayed in our old apartment. However, Julie wanted to move out of it as soon as possible because of the bad memories. We purchased a single-family home a few months ago in a nice suburb and moved there in May. I don't think that issue of codependency is resolved and probably may have increased after the incident, but I love her, will always be there for her when she needs me. On to the main update. Julie and I got married last Saturday in a nice intimate ceremony held at my father's country club. All our family and friends were present, and I could not have asked for a better evening. I wish I could share photos of Julie in her wedding dress because she looked stunning. We plan to leave for our honeymoon next week, and I could not have been happier about how things turned out. Hopefully, in 25 years, Julie and I would look back at this incident as a small blip in our perfect life. Relevant comments. Comment 1, looks like a happy update after all. Make sure to keep communicating about any issues either of you might have, and don't be afraid to go back to counseling if it's needed. OP, thanks. We did attend couples counseling for 2 more sessions, and it was good to talk through our expectations about each other. I know not everyone needs it, but would highly recommend it to any couple getting married. Comment 2, I'm sorry. How are you the idiot for her leaving you because her BFF got into her head? Also, how is your sister trying to take away your championship belt? OP, I feel like an idiot because I should have taken some time before moving on to the next girl willing to be with me. Julie and I were in a relationship for 4 years and I almost threw everything away in 15 days.